I'm Riley.
And I'm Aidan, and this is our day in the life.
Our week begins by walking into the lab room where the plan for the week is normally laid out by one of the professors for us interns to review and look over together. It normally looks something like this with multiple different pages about important stuff that will be covered in lab that week. After we review the papers a couple times, next is when we break down the major points and tasks that we are doing in lab and we write it on the board so that students can see the plan written out. Here's a tour of the lab class. It's very important that us interns know exactly where everything is. That way classes and open labs run quickly and efficiently.
The first learning objective, which is the ability to summarize and effectively convey experiences and show command of the English language, we decided to do the back squat demo. We met this goal by taking that detailed information in the book about the back squat and simplifying it into clearer points that are easier to understand and apply in this type of setting. In addition, we expanded beyond the textbook by addressing proper setup, safe bailing techniques, and spotting strategies for both single and multiple spotters.
Okay, so for this week, we're going to be talking about spotting, resistance training exercises, and getting the students ready for chapter 15 textbook. So, for you guys, I would love to make sure that we cover everything we need to from the PowerPoint. Definitely cover grips, and then you guys will be in charge of the rack and covering the spotting techniques for the back squat, as well as how to use the rack so that the students feel comfortable adjusting this rack specifically for that, but also the other one in the corner. Does that make sense? Yes. Questions?
No.
In this back squat demo following learning objective 1, the first thing we do is ask these questions. Has anything changed in your health history questionnaire? Do you have experience with resistance training? Have you performed this exercise? And what is your typical load? From there, we would probably set up the rack. The bar height should align with your clavicles, and the safety bar should align with how deep your body weight squat is. For the exercise itself, your feet should be about shoulder width apart, hands firmly placed on the bar with a closed pronated grip. Then safely walk yourself under the bar, maintaining an upright posture as you were stepping away from the rack. This should always be done within the rack for safety purposes. As far as bailing, the athlete can drop the weight behind them if they cannot stand up from the squatted position. For spotting, you can either have one spotter behind the athlete, ensuring the spotter follows the entire range of motion with their hands around the torso, or in the case of multiple spotters, you may have them on either side of the rack, again following them down in the squat position and then standing back up.
Learning objective 2 is perform accurate and effective tasks assigned by your site supervisor with close supervision. We met this learning goal by performing accurate and effective tasks under close site supervision, particularly when demonstrating the power clean and hang clean. To ensure proper lifting execution, we collabed with the professors, adhered to protocols and procedures outlined in the textbook, and asked for help when needed. Through consistent communication, attention to detail, and willingness to learn, we carried out assigned responsibilities that aligned with professional expectations. Before starting the lesson, my supervisor gave me the rundown for the day, and I prepared all barbells, loading them with light weights for the students. We then went outside on the turf, where we began teaching these Olympic lifts. Our supervisor loves to read out the textbook first to the students before anything else, so that's what I'm doing right here. We decided that I would talk through the lift while she demos. Once covering the lift is finished, my supervisor and I would go around helping all the students with their form and coaching skills. What we're doing here is trying to break apart the lift into many sections, which helps the learning process in the long run.
Learning objective 3 is conceptualize, design, implement, and evaluate accumulating project that shows application of knowledge in the field of exercise science. We met this learning goal by designing and implementing a plyometrics presentation. While developing this presentation, we incorporated foundational knowledge of what plyometrics are, provided many different examples, and explained the physiological mechanisms that make plyometric training effective. Here are a couple slides of our plyometric presentation where we highlight the benefits of plyometrics, outline different types of plyometric exercises, and apply principles to demonstrate proper program design. We also emphasize safety considerations to ensure appropriate and effective applications. This is a video of Aidan presenting his portion of our plyometric presentation. We did present this to each lab class, which is 5 in total.
These next 2 hurdle drills I covered with the students were the double leg zigzag hop and the 4 hurdle drill. I will always demo first before the students get to try, and for plyos especially, I'll go over any dimensions they'll need to know for their practical. Safety and technique are also a top priority, which I'd emphasize to all the students before each gave it a try.
In this video, I am demonstrating an upper body plyometric, more specifically the chest pass. I am referencing the textbook throughout this encounter with the students, but I'm also breaking it up into simpler terms. That way it's more understandable for them to learn and demonstrate the movement.
In this plyo example following learning objective 3, I am demonstrating a lateral box jump. For this jump, knowing athlete training status will determine the appropriate box height. From there, it is critical that the athletes start with a slight counter movement, lead with both arms, and ensure that both feet land on the box as you laterally jump onto it. Then you would step off the box on the other side for safety and repeat that jump for the appropriate amount of contacts for the athlete's training status. If they are a beginner, for example, a box height of 6 inches and 80 to 100 contacts is most suitable.
Learning objective 4 is develop and practice self-evaluation skills. So the first couple weeks of this internship, us interns acted more like flies on the wall. We kind of wanted to see how the professors ran labs, grouped up kids, and how they actually taught the lifting techniques. So by the 3rd week, us interns finally led groups. So for example, I had agility drills one day where I explained setup, equipment, and how to run the drill itself. I was still gaining confidence during this time on how to talk to big classes and answer questions, but by each of the following weeks, I gained more confidence in the topics I was teaching. So for example, by week 12 was plyometric weeks, which is when the interns handled the lecture portion of class, and this helped me evaluate how my talking could improve for each lab. The upper body plyos is the section that I was responsible for. I noticed that Tuesday class I ran out of time quickly, so by the following couple days I made evaluations on how I could improve my time efficiency to better fit within the lab time. So I'm now using all of these self-evaluating skills to improve how I can run future labs and classes in general.
During week 3, I've realized that my confidence was not where I hoped it would be after the first experiential learning. I felt prepared, but I struggled to explain specific terminology and simplify exercises clearly. It was frustrating, but it became clear that I didn't need to know everything or be perfect right away. Making mistakes is part of this process, and it has allowed me to grow by practicing, reflecting, and refining each week. I've become more organized, confident, and aware of my coaching voice. By the time the first practical came, things were still a bit rocky, but I learned how to review and evaluate the rubric so we didn't run over on time. By week 7, I felt confident taking over the stability ball exercises, so my explanations were clearer and more natural. By the second practical, our timing was stronger, and I had a much better sense of how to improve my instructions. By week 12, which was the plyometric week, our planning, design, and implementation were much smoother and structured. I felt very confident and comfortable presenting, demonstrating, and explaining the PowerPoint as well as the box drills. Entering into that final week with Olympic lifts, I could clearly see how much I had grown. Comparing week 3 to week 13 showed a dramatic shift in my confidence, clarity, and coaching ability.
At the start of the semester, I felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of the students. One of the reasons I chose this site in particular is because of my fear of public speaking. I have always been nervous talking in front of people, and I thought by picking up this site and challenging my fear, it would be beneficial for me, particularly if I wanted to work in this field. In the beginning, I was hesitant to help the students as much as I do now. The lectures definitely helped me because that was the one time in the week where I'd be speaking in front of 80 plus students. Talking in front of all the students made me more confident when teaching in the lab. By week 12, we took full control of plyometrics, and all of us felt much more comfortable when compared to the start of the semester. I would usually teach with the professors, covering the more difficult lifts. Week by week, they gave me more control of the teaching aspect, and they would either demo or just observe.